Ford Model A Q&A.
Welcome back to the shop. I'm Model T, and I've got Paul Shinn with me, my lovely hubby, the Model A guy, also the tech guy for Mafka.
Yep.
And all around awesome dude.
Thank
I'm
you.
lucky to be married to him and having him as my best friend.
Aww.
I love you, man. Today's question comes from Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael. Okay, he says he has a question that has been bothering him. He says, my 1930 Roadster, pretty stock, but with a Ryan 33% overdrive, makes a terrible noise when under load at speeds above 30. It will easily go 50 on level roads or downhill, but uphill under a load, it sounds like sheet metal banging. I can't find anything loose under the hood. I've checked the mains and the rod caps for play, and I'm puzzled as to what it could be. It's Mike from Hawaii.
Okay, so it sounds like he's talking about the noises coming from the engine.
Yeah?
And I've had that happen.
Yeah?
And the answer is thrust bearing.
Thrust
Yeah,
bearings.
so the thrust bearing, it's in a Babbitt engine anyway. It's actually the Babbitt that's poured in front of the rear main, and it's what the crank pushes against. So under load, it's like everything in the car is trying to split itself apart. You know, it's like the bearings and the bushings and the caps and everything that hold everything together.
Yeah.
Okay, the crankshaft in the motor is trying to walk forward or backward, depending on the load. Okay, so the thrust is actually what that pushes against. And if the thrust is bad, in the one case that we had, it was a Babbitt engine, not a insert bearing engine. The Babbitt had broken and pieces fell out of it, and it was metal on metal.
Oh, wow.
When you had a load on it, and when you didn't have a load, it would just sit there and purr.
Wow. So you don't think it's an overdrive at all? It's that instead?
Well, he made it sound like if it's coming from the engine, that's it. Now, if it's coming from the overdrive, the Ryan overdrive is one of those planetary overdrives, and the answer is no.
Just yank it out,
Yank it out.
put a Mitchell overdrive?
Throw a Mitchell in it. Yeah, unfortunately, there is not. I mean, unless you source another one that you know is in good shape that you can dismantle and, you know, rob parts from. They're not making parts for them anymore. I mean, they haven't been made since, what, the 70s or something like
So
that?
that was my next question. Is Ryan out of business or
Oh,
something?
they have not made those in a long time.
Okay. So maybe he is better off getting a Mitchell overdrive.
If that's the problem. If it's the
If it's
engine.
the problem, yeah.
Now, if it doesn't, when the overdrive's engaged or disengaged, then it, you know, it's probably come from the engine.
Okay.
The other option, the other thing it could be is the input shaft in the transmission. If that bearing is shot, but probably not. It's probably the thrust in the engine.
Wow. Is it easy to fix?
Nope, it's an engine out.
Don't.
It's a redo.
Oh, no.
It's a do-over.
Oh, I hope it's simpler than that.
Oh, I hope so too, but no,
Well,
the thrust is a
simple would
big
be
deal.
the swap, but the expense.
Well, the thing is, if it's a Babbitt engine, if you want to re-pour it, you can. But you still have to take the engine totally apart. You have to take the crank out, everything, to re-pour it.
Wow.
Or you can machine it for inserts.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not one of those things like, oh, back in 1920, my grandpa had one, did that, and he just wrapped bacon around it and clamped it together and it worked. You know?
Bacon.
No, you just not. It's not one of those fixes. No.
Bacon.
Well,
You come up with these things.
it just happens. My brain is warped.
Keep those Model A's driving for generations to come.